Today we're diving into something I'm sure all of us can relate to, and that's managing our time better. If you've ever felt like you're running around like a headless chicken, trying to juggle a million things at once, you're definitely not alone. So let's dive into some real, actionable tips that can help you take control of your time. Now, we all have the same 24 hours in a day, but how we use that time can make all the difference. Good time management is not just about cramming more tasks into your day, it's about making the most of the time that you do have. It's making sure that you have time for those tasks that take your energy and the ones that give you energy, like spending time with family or friends, pursuing hobbies, or just relaxing after a long day. Achieving this balance through time management can help you reduce stress and improve your productivity, which is a win-win. And you're gonna wanna start by prioritizing your tasks. Now, I know this sounds super basic, but just hear me out. Not everything on your to-do list is equally important. So start by writing down everything that you need to do. Yes, everything. Then take a moment to rank those tasks by urgency and importance. For example, let's say you have an assignment due tomorrow, but you also need to organize your closet. Guess which one should be at the top of your list? Focus on those high impact tasks because you're gonna feel so much more accomplished once you're able to check them off. A great tool that helps you do this is called the Eisenhower Matrix, which helps you to decide on and prioritize tasks based on urgency and importance. And if you want to learn more about it, you can check out this video right over here, and I'll also have it linked on the end card at the end of this video. After you have your priorities laid out and you know what needs to be done and in what order, let's figure out when to do them. To do this, I highly recommend that you combine these next 3 strategies, which are time blocking, task batching, and task stacking. It might sound like a lot at first, but trust me, it's totally doable and you're gonna love it. Let's start with time blocking. This is one of my favorite techniques and is the one that most of my system is pretty much based on. Basically, you set aside specific chunks of time for focused work throughout your day. Think of it like scheduling an appointment with yourself. For example, from 8 a.m. to 9 a.m. could be dedicated to working out, while 9:30 a.m. to noon could be for focused work on that project you've been putting off for a while. This helps keep distractions at bay and lets you focus on one thing at a time instead of trying to multitask, which will not work unless you do it in a particular way. More on that later. While you're blocking out your day, you can also dedicate chunks of time for a bunch of similar tasks. So you can have blocks of time for one specific task or multiple tasks that are similar and can be done in the same location. That's what's known as task batching. Take me, for example. This might sound a little bit crazy, but I do give myself from 5 to 8 a.m. for my morning routine, then from 9 to 12 for focused work on my business. My morning routine sets the tone for my day and is made up of a bunch of quick tasks that I need to do regularly and are similar. A lot of cleaning and getting ready for my day, essentially. My second block of time is for focused work for my channel that, depending on the day, will be either research, scripting, filming, editing, things like that. I hinted at this next tip a little bit earlier. It's one that you may not use every single day, but you're definitely gonna be glad that you have it in your arsenal. And that's task stacking. Think of it like multitasking, but in a way that actually works. The way this is done successfully is by doing one active task and one passive task simultaneously. The active task being one that requires your focus and brain power to complete, and by passive task, I mean those things that you can pretty much do on autopilot. Here's a few examples of what that looks like. Listening to a podcast that is providing you with information you need to further your business while in the shower or driving to the store. Returning your mom's call while you're cooking dinner. Or let's say you have a 45-minute commute to work on either a train or a van pool. Something where you're not driving, right? You can then take that time to do some research for that business you're trying to start, or if you're a student, you can use that time to review for an upcoming test. This is a hack I think a lot of us already do, we just don't realize that we're doing it. But now that I've pointed it out to you, maybe you can use it more strategically throughout your day. This channel is all about improving productivity, but in a balanced way. Part of that balance is not just focusing on our present circumstances, but also setting ourselves up for future success. A lot of us can be so focused on the now that we forget about the later. So my question to you is, where do you want to be in the next 5 to 10 years? If you're happy with where you're at now, that's totally fine. The tips in this video are definitely going to help you maintain that. But if you want more for yourself and for your family, it's critical, absolutely critical, that you start to set goals. If there's nothing you're working towards, that's exactly what you're going to end up achieving. But I will say that I don't think the problem is that people don't have things that they want to achieve. They just don't know how to take action on it. Most people get pretty intimidated when talking about goal setting, but here is a very practical strategy to help you through this process. It's known as SMART goals. And if you've never heard of this before, it stands for specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time-bound. This is a strategy that helps you figure out what steps to take to help you achieve your goals. For example, let's say you're unhappy with your fitness level, right? That's a pretty common one. So instead of setting a vague goal like I want to get fit, try setting a goal of working out 30 minutes 3 times a week. It also really helps to kind of work backwards from the goals that you want to accomplish to identify the necessary steps you need to take to get there. So start by figuring out exactly what you want to achieve. Let's say your goal is to lose 20 pounds by the end of the year. That's not a bad start. That's your specific and time-bound aspects of this approach. You're setting a specific weight to reach and giving yourself a deadline. But instead of just focusing on that big number, break it down into smaller steps. Think about what you need to do each week, like aiming to lose 1 to 2 pounds. This is what you can measure and is way more achievable. Then look at what further actions you can take to get there. Maybe that means planning healthier meals, hitting the gym 3 times a week, or tracking your calories, which, by the way, are those relevant steps that you can take to get to your ultimate goal. By reverse engineering your goals, you can create a clear roadmap that makes the whole process feel way more manageable. But even the best of plans will never be effective if we fail to recognize this one critical step: minimizing distractions. Identify what those distractions are for you. Those things that pull you away from what really matters and even feeds procrastination. Is it your phone buzzing with notifications? Maybe it's the allure of social media. Once you know what distracts you, you can then take action. For instance, try setting specific times to check your phone or social media rather than letting them interrupt your flow throughout your day. Another great strategy is to create a dedicated workspace. Now, this doesn't have to be anything fancy. It could just be a corner of your room where you feel focused and productive. When you designate a space for work, it helps signal to your brain that it's time to buckle down and focus. A good example of this is service animals. Generally speaking, these animals are trained to be on duty when they have their vests on. They are trained to take this very seriously and are hyper-focused on their owner at this time, and they've learned to avoid distractions as much as possible. Once the vest is off, that signals to them that they are off duty and can relax. We can apply the same principle to our lives by having dedicated workspaces and routines in place. You can also use tools like website blockers or apps that limit your screen time during work hours. By creating an environment that minimizes distractions, you'll find that you can dive into those tasks more deeply and get things done way more efficiently. It's all about finding what works best for you and sticking with it. Now, after all this effort that you've made to prioritize, schedule, and eliminate distractions, how will you know if you're actually getting the most out of these principles if you don't take time to review and reflect on how things are going? At the end of each day or week, take just 5 minutes to think about what went well and what didn't. Did you stick to your plan? What could have been better? This reflection helps you adjust your strategies moving forward to get the best results for your specific needs, and it allows you to celebrate those small wins along the way. At the end of the day, it's all about experimenting with these strategies and finding what works for you.